I thought this was as good a moment as any to introduce this video. Today we're talking about what it's like to be a teacher when you have also got a new one of these around with you. So this is my son. He is 3 months old today. You might be able to hear his little breathing in the background. And we're going to be talking about what it's like to go through having a baby and then going back to work. And obviously this can be different for many teachers because it is one of those professions where it is a female dominated profession. And so lots of teachers will go on maternity leave, but there'll also be teachers out there that don't have maternity leave or that take their paternity leave and then go back after a couple of weeks like I did. And it's just kind of to go through what it's like, what the sleep's like, the work-life balance, how to manage things, and yeah, just kind of my experiences. So we're going to go through all that today. I'm just going to get this one rocked off to sleep and then we will get going. The next clip you're going to see is from this morning. So right now it is about 10:30 just gone, and this clip from this morning you'll see was slightly earlier than 10:30. So I've been up for a little while today, which if you had told me that 6 months ago I'd have thought was the end of the world, but again, it's just how life has changed. It's my routine now and it's absolutely fine. So enjoy watching this little clip of a bit of realities of life with a baby and being a teacher, and then I'll get into the more nitty-gritty detail bits afterwards. So I'll see you in a minute. So as you can see here, the time is now 5:56. You see in the top corner, going to 6 o'clock. And I just thought I'd show you, this is a bit of a realistic kind of teaching as a new parent. I just sat for the last hour and a half, maybe just over an hour, and sat and done some planning. So this is what I'm teaching my first week back at school. And I've just gone through, and I'd already done the writing and the maths and the reading, that kind of thing. I've gone through with these afternoon lessons down here and made sure I've got all those planned out. So just some examples. I've got here my RE lesson that we're going to go through, looking into Sikh religion. I've also got along here, this is our Cornerstones curriculum. So I've just gone through and done my first Cornerstones lesson because I've missed that one. I've done all our memorable experience and our engage lessons. I'd planned all these already, but I'd missed off the first one for some reason. So I've done that. So then I've got this entire first week is all ready, and I now need to go and have a look at the second one. I'm up because my little boy is down there in bed. You might possibly be able to hear him in the background, but he's on a bit of wiggle. He's asleep. He's had a feed. But yeah, this is just the realistic life of teaching as a new parent. It's an early start, but it's the free time I've had. It means I get the rest of my day. It is bank holiday Monday today. I'm back in school tomorrow. So I've got my last little bit of work done, ready to get started with the kids on Wednesday. So yeah, that's just a bit of realism in terms of, you know, it's all well and good to talk about what it's like, but actually this is what it's like. And I'm hopefully now going to go and get some more sleep before I have to get up and get going with the day. So I'll speak to you in a minute. There you saw a little sneak peek into my life at the minute, and it's a good example of just how much everything has changed. I would never have been working at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd never been up at 4 o'clock in the morning 6 months ago, and now it's a semi-regular occurrence. And so we're just gonna go into a bit more about all that kind of stuff, about having a child, about how to work around it, and just some tips that I think I could give just on the first 3 months, because he is 3 months old today and it's going really, really well and I'm really happy with it. First of all, obviously talking about sleep. Sleep schedules change massively and everyone kind of tells you it'll change. I found you're never quite ready for it until it actually happens, because I thought I was going to be terrible asleep. I've always been quite good at surviving on not a lot of sleep, and I've never really been a big sleeper. I generally have about 6 hours sleep a night. But I thought, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to cope with it. But we've also been helped because he's a really good sleeper, and at the minute he will generally sleep for up to 10 hours a night. Sometimes even night before last, he slept 10.5 hours in one go. He didn't have a night feed at all, and he does that probably half the nights at the minute. So we're very, very lucky in that sense that he's not up every 2-3 hours. He's maximum up once a night. And as you saw there, if it's about 4 o'clock, well, I can get my 6 hours sleep in from 10 till 4. And then I've got my 6 hours. And yes, it's earlier. I used to sleep from like midnight till 6, but I'm still getting the right amount of sleep in. And if I don't have any work to do, I can go back to sleep after as well. The thing that does kind of change again is your work patterns around the sleep, because now the time is roughly about 11 o'clock. And from that video then at 6 o'clock in the morning to now, I've done no work. Now, generally, I wouldn't always work in the morning, but that entire time from 4 till 11, or 6 till 11, so those 5 hours have pretty much been taken up with feeding, with changing nappies, with playing with him, general family life, tidying the house up, doing the washing. There's just all those kind of things that are so much more important now than obviously things that I never had to do before we had him. And so that's where you have to organise your time really well, and that's why I like doing the work in the mornings now, or late at night sometimes, but very rarely, because I generally try and get to sleep earlier and then do the work in the mornings just at that early point, because it's out of the way. It's my own little couple of hours while he's asleep, and I can just get what I need to get done. I've just come up here to do this because he's just gone to sleep downstairs for his nap. So he's been awake for the last 2.5 to 3 hours, and we've been messing around, playing, talking to him, just generally trying to help his development as you do as parents. But now he's gone to sleep, so I've got another couple hours here. I'm going to squeeze in as much as I can, film this, edit it, make sure my planning's all sorted for tomorrow, and double check I've got it all in the right places. So I think I got all that done this morning, so that should be nice and quick. And then it's back on to doing housework, doing some jobs, that kind of thing. So it's just about prioritising your time, and especially in terms of sleep. If you do struggle with sleep, then making sure you can plan in and have naps at different points. I'm pretty good at surviving on not a lot of sleep, so I won't be having a nap today. But I've got I went to sleep it was a bit late last night, it was about 11, and obviously I've woken up about 4. So I've had 5 hours, that'll be enough for me for today. But about making sure that when I go back to school, especially, we're back at school tomorrow, that we can go through and plan out, okay, that day's a long day, I've got a staff meeting that day, so I'm going to need to make sure I've got the energy, I've got the food with me that will give me that energy to survive, and doing things like exercise around it. The next thing I wanted to go on and talk about is about the different timings in terms of going to school and leaving school, and how that might change once you've got a child too. Obviously, your priorities do change massively when you have a baby, and I am much more inclined to leave work early and get to work a bit later than I was beforehand. The list of things you have to do at school kind of changes, because there are things you still need to do, but there's other things that whereas you would have done them beforehand, maybe they take a bit of a back seat now, and you don't necessarily have the same focus anymore. So my kind of working day, and I've done one of these like day in the life videos before that you can go back and have a look at on the channel. Generally, I'd aim to get to school for between 7 and 15, and then I would get home between 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening. And that was kind of my day-to-day working hours, and I'd try and get everything done at school, and so I wouldn't bring any work home. Whereas now I generally get to school about an hour later, so between 8 and 8:15, and I'll leave roughly around 4 o'clock. Now that does mean I don't get all my work done at school. I do prioritise my time a bit more efficiently at school, and I do get a lot of work done still at school. Now I'll be in the classroom getting on with stuff because I have to prioritise the time more efficiently. But now, as you can see, I do work in the morning at home, or I might do some in the afternoon, or when I get in the evening, when I get a minute or an hour. And that kind of thing has changed, where my rule always used to be leave all work at school, don't bring anything home. My priorities have changed now, because I'd much prefer to be, if I have to do the work, I prefer to do it at home with my child and with my wife, and have that kind of time together still, even if I'm sat on my laptop doing the work, rather than being sat at school on my own away from him. I, generally want to spend as much time with him as possible, as well as with my wife, and so I want to make sure I'm doing that as much as I can. Talking of my wife and obviously how amazing she is, one of the things I do think is really important is communication between yourself and your partner, be it your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, whoever it might be. You must make sure that between the two of you, you're obviously talking about what you want to achieve, what they want to achieve. If you're the one staying at home, or if they're the one staying at home with the baby, then talking about how that's going to work and what kind of hours you're looking at, when you can be there, when you can't be there, just generally making sure you communicate with each other and talk about what you want and what they want, and how you can make it work between the two of you. Because things do change so much, and the compromises you used to make between the two of you now have to factor in a third party, which is the baby, who obviously needs so much attention and so much love and so much need, and that does demand a lot more of your time. Things that you used to do, once a week, we used to do washing maybe twice a week. We now do a load of washing every single day. And so it's just those kind of chores. The dishwasher used to go on once every 2-3 days. It's now on every day. It builds up so quickly. There's things like bottles, there's sterilizers, there's just cleaning the house, making sure it's nice and neat all the time, changing nappies, doing feeds. There's so many more jobs in your life, and you've got all those on top of going back to work and teaching. You must make sure that you are communicating with your partner if you're with them, and deciding on which bits you can do, which bits you think actually that's a bit much. I might not be able to do that at that point. So my wife and I, one of the things that a lot of people don't seem to understand but works for us is that I do the night feeds even when I'm at work. And as I said before, that's because
generally I am a lot better on less sleep. So I still make sure I get the right amount of sleep, and I do go to bed earlier than I used to, as much as I can. But my wife needs a lot more sleep than I do. She generally sleeps between 8 and 10 hours, where I'm good with about 6. So doing the night feeds for us works for me, because even though she's at home, it's not an easy task doing maternity leave. And I will put my hands up and say, for every single person out there that is on maternity that might be watching this, I'm so impressed with everything you have to go through. Looking after a baby on your own is hard work, and doing it for days at a time on your own, I pull my hands up and say, you know what, that's really impressive, and I'm really amazed with how difficult it is, because I didn't think it would be that as hard as it has seemed to be. And that's not to say it's always hard. There's really good days, there's amazing days, there's tough days, and I think for my wife, for her to obviously need more sleep is much easier for her when she has that amount of sleep and then can look after him at home all day and be in a much better state of mind. And for me, I can still get the right amount of sleep and go to work and get work done, and it just works for us. Now, I know that might not be the same for you, and again, as always with all of my videos, I do preface them with the idea that do what works for you. These are just ideas that work for me, and they might help you, but they might not. And if they don't, then that's perfectly okay. Just ignore them and do what you think. But that's what works for us, and I don't know, tell me what you think in the comments. But yeah, it does work, and we managed to go for it. But as I was saying, you do just communication and understanding your needs, understanding your partner's needs, doing that between the two of you is so important, because you can do it on your own, but it's something that is so much easier when there's two of you working together rather than kind of pulling separate ways. Now, the last thing I'm going to add to that, and as you can see, I'm back downstairs, is that it's so totally worth it, even when you think you're going to get a bit of time to yourself and you don't. And like, I was just upstairs doing that video. I've been upstairs for about 20 minutes. My little boy had been awake for about 2.5 hours, which is longer than he normally would be during the day, especially during the morning. So again, you know, you think you get into routine and it changes and you're like, whoa, okay, got to reset. And he's just gone down for his nap, as I said earlier. And I thought, you know what, that's great. He's been awake for a while. I should get a good 3 hours here to get my stuff done. And he's awake. I don't know if you can hear him in the background, but he's chatting away. So I'm going to see how he goes. He might drop off again, but he might actually say, you know what, I don't want to be asleep right now. I'm going to be awake again. And again, that's absolutely fine. And I will play with him and we'll do whatever we need to do. But it's just one of those where you think you get into routine, you think you get a bit of time, and all of a sudden things change and you have to be ready to change your plans like that. Because as you can see, I'm now downstairs. I'm now need to start getting ready to do other things than what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to film and edit. And instead, I'm going to probably end up playing peekaboo with my baby, which is absolutely fine, because what better way to spend a bank holiday? So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you a bit of an insight into what it's like going to work as a teacher with a newborn. And hopefully it's given you a bit of help. As always, a new video on a Tuesday and a Friday. So please do subscribe and like and comment to help the channel. And I will see you very soon.